Joe Budden checks Ish for being cool with his op, Mandi.
You've been in mad videos with Mandi and you still been my friend.
Y'all not enemies.
Listen to me, let me land.
If you see Mandi in the street, y'all will talk. So you and Mandi are not out here. Mandi's not trying to end your career. Mandi's not trying to stop the Joe Budden podcast from generating revenue.
And Sons Emanny on the podcast.
You can't start and disparage someone and then make it seem like they were wrong for responding.
I never, don't put words in my mouth.
Okay.
Hey, give me an ISO. You're too timid for me right now. Move. Yeah, I don't need help in this.
That's right, y'all. On the last episode of the Joe Budden podcast, Joe appeared to be in his moody bag, checking some of his co-hosts and making them look silly. So the first moment I highlighted was when they were talking about how Drake has seemingly fallen out with DeMar DeRozan because he appeared in the Not Like Us video. And Ish was making the case, as well as Flip, that hey, Drake is in his right not to be cool with DeMar DeRozan ever since he appeared in the Not Like Us video. And Joe Budden, trying to make a point, went a little bit personal by saying that he's been cool with Ish even though he's friends with Mandi. And that was specifically geared towards Ish, but it also applies to Flip and Emanny, who are really, really cool and tight with Mandi. But Ish, being the one who is most adept at arguing, pushed back at Joe and told him, hey man, that's not really your enemy. Why are you fronting? And all of that stuff. And he kind of got Joe in the ropes because Joe didn't have a firm rebuttal. On top of that, Joe was just being COE. I don't know how many, well, I don't even know if he's being COE anymore because he brings up that Mandi-ish relationship countless times. He's always bringing it up and then saying he doesn't care and then says he's not sensitive. I'm of the opinion Joe is very sensitive, but because he has the upper hand in the power dynamic on the show, he can get that lie off. But that's not the only thing I noticed. Is I get the impression that Ish, I think he communicates with Mandi more than he does with Joe. Yeah, I said it. I think him and Mandi are actually good friends. And he spends more time talking to Mandi than he does Joe. I think that bothers Joe, that a lot of the people on his podcast are more close to Mandi than him. I really believe that. I mean, you see footage of Mandi, Ish, Ice, and Emanny hanging out more so than you see Joe with Ish, Ice, and Emanny. So that's one thing we got to monitor. But Joe Budden wasn't only snappy with Ish, he also snapped at Emanny. Emanny was basically trying to take up for DDG because, you know, he was bigging up DDG. He was saying like DDG actually is successful in his field. And Joe quite outright sunned him. Said, oh man, get out of here. Get out of my way. You too scared. And I know for a fact Emanny is a bit, he's actually sensitive. So he probably don't want to be cut off like that. And I wonder why Joe did that. I'm sure it was COE and it remains something to be, you know, analyzed by me. I don't think Emanny can really handle being made to look like a little underling. And the more Joe does this, you're going to see how people react to it. Because Ish can push back. Emanny, he doesn't necessarily push back. He just like scrunches his face and looks upset and angry. But let me know what you think about Joe Budden doing this to his co-host. Joe just gets in these snippy, snappy, attitude-y moments. And I don't know why he does it, but it makes for great entertainment. I assume at some point Ish or Emanny are going to snap. But I think Emanny's honestly just happy to be up there. He's just happy to be up there. All right, y'all. I also wanted to talk about other parts of this episode. Queen's Flip is back. He's so loud all the time. And it's like, I don't know. He's hit or miss. And more often than not, he's missed for me. But let me know what you think in the comments. Are you happy to have Flip back? I can't say that I missed him. And the views, I think, dipped a little, though, when he was gone. So it doesn't really matter what I think. What matters is his impact on the show. And without him, the show loses its energy. But I'm quite frankly over the flip era of the pod. Also, Emanny said something quite interesting. He said that, you know, Jay-Z, some people think he beat Nas. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, at the time the battle happened, that was every bit as bad as Kendrick versus Drake. Do y'all remember Jay-Z on Hot 97 crying? Like, he wasn't crying, but he was like, you know, sometimes when you go to war and somebody got to get the gun involved, and then I don't know why Nas did that. And I think people are having revisionist history. And remember that when Nas battled Jay-Z, it was a 1v1, and Jay-Z still lost. At least Drake battled a bunch of people, and people say he lost. So that's revisionist history. But let me know what you think in the comments. I still think Ether was every bit the bomb that Not Like Us was. But because of the Twitter timeline and recency bias, we're kind of just seeing it that way. Also, I'm gonna throw something out there, guys. I know a lot of you, it's the Drake hate era. So the bots, the commenters, everybody hates Drake right now. But don't y'all think Drake and Joe is getting weird? People are going to say the same thing about me. Don't you think Joe and Daddy's getting weird? But I'm here to talk about Drake and Joe. Joe said that he wishes no ill will towards Drake. And I think that's cap. I feel like that caption Drake wrote a while back was so scathing to Joe. He felt so hurt by it. I mean, he was on Spaces, upset. He was doing that thing he always does. I'm never going to talk about Drake again. And only to talk about Drake over and over and over. I feel like it's insanely personal, y'all. And quite honestly, I think this is part of the gaslighting by Joe, is saying it's not personal when it's super personal. And I know it's super personal for Drake. If the Drake goons are mad at Cypher Sounds for something he did promoting Kendrick, I forgot what it was. Imagine what they would do to Joe. I remember Ish and Joe having a conversation about, yo, I don't think Drake would ever have anything done to Joe and all of that. Now, I don't know. I think Ish would very much be wrong here. I think Drake would love to catch Joe slipping. Or at least the second in command at OVO, Chubbs, or whoever. And Drake wouldn't be mad. Like, if somebody texted Drake and was like, yo, I caught your man's lacking, I think he would be like putting the laughy emoji. Like, oh my God, thank you. This guy was talking crazy. He was calling me a PDF file. He finally got what he deserved. But let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about Joe Budden checking Ish and Ish returning fire. Joe Budden sunning Emanny, and Emanny kind of just calling up in a ball and just, you know, getting in the fetal position. Also, the return of Flip. Do you miss him? Are you happy he's back? And last but not least, Drake versus Joe. How personal did it go? And where will it go in the future? Alright, y'all, that's my video for now. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.